Dan Willis here, and we're talking about the MiraMed Revenue Group and the consumer due diligence steps for dealing with MiraMed Revenue Group. Are you getting endless phone calls from MiraMed Revenue Group? How about letters demanding payment? Or maybe you've noticed they're reporting a negative mark on your credit reports. If so, you're in the right place. MiraMed Revenue Group is a third-party collection agency based out of Lombard, Illinois. They work exclusively with the healthcare industry, as in collecting medical bills. They say they've worked with hospitals and physicians for over 25 years. Our purpose here is to share exactly how to deal with collection agencies along with your rights as a consumer. This includes how to exercise these rights and protect yourself, your pocketbook, and your creditworthiness. The first item to note is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, FDCPA. This federal legislation was passed to regulate and govern the debt collection industry. In other words, it's the rules. It says what time of day debt collectors are allowed to contact you, what they can say, who they can talk to about your alleged debt, and much more. It's worth your detailed review at your convenience. It's also supposed to require debt collectors to provide you with that modicum of respect and dignity every human being deserves. And yes, it's true, the FDCPA is violated just about as often as our drug laws. Now, does paying MiraMed Revenue Group improve your credit? For many folks, their big concern is, does paying collections improve your credit? Naturally, you'd think it would, but as of this video at the end of 2020 and moving forward, no, it won't. You see, if all you do is pay collections and nothing more, the only thing that will change is the status of the collection on your credit report. It'll be changed from an unpaid collection to a paid collection. This is still a negative item, and it's very likely to lower your credit score. Anthony Sprov, a spokesman for FICO, says collections on your credit report can damage and drag your credit score down by as much as 100 points. FICO is the company responsible for determining the majority of consumers' credit scores, also says, and we quote, "The fact that you have collections listed on your credit report will almost certainly lower your FICO score." And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Listen, to raise your credit score, we need to remove this collection mark entirely from your credit reports, as if it never happened, because this is the cause for millions of Americans of a less than perfect credit score. And for some folks, they may discover the easiest path to a clear credit report is to ultimately settle and pay off this collection debt. But it's essential to follow the necessary due diligence steps, which we'll be discussing here in this video and the next. So, of course, subscribe and join our congregation. Now, MiraMed Revenue Group collection methods. Let's discuss what MiraMed Revenue Group can do. Besides the phone calls, the letters, and negative information on your credit reports, it's also likely MiraMed Revenue Group will inflate your total account balance. Legally, they can charge your account with a high interest rate, and believe it or not, they can even charge you with collection fees. Depending on the size of your alleged debt, these fees can be substantial amounts of money. If they're unable to collect payment, they typically have two options. First, they can sell the rights to your account to yet another debt collector. Now, this new debt collector will begin contacting you and reporting the negative account on your credit reports. Alternatively, they can file a civil lawsuit, as in sue you. If this happens, you should receive a court summons. Their goal is to win a judgment because then you're really stuck between a rock and a hard place. A judgment can potentially result in wage garnishment, liens placed against you and your property, and possibly even asset seizure. But every state has unique laws, so for full details, investigate your local legislation. Please, whatever you do, don't just ignore MiraMed Revenue Group and with the false belief they'll just disappear like a warm spot in the pool. And if you'd like some help, we're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available there for you, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. Now let's talk about the consumer due diligence steps for dealing with MiraMed Revenue Group. And our very first step is to request debt validation. When we do this, we're saying, MiraMed Revenue Group, you first prove this is truly my debt, and then we may be able to discuss repayment. After all, MiraMed Revenue Group just showed up one day demanding payment. In other words, we didn't do any business directly with MiraMed Revenue Group. Moreover, this is your right as a consumer granted by the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It's most effective to make this debt validation request in writing and send it using certified mail. This way, you'll have a trail of evidence of your communication along with receipt should you need it. You see, MiraMed Revenue Group is required to reply to your validation request by providing you with the documents, evidence, and paperwork that does prove this is your account. These documents should clearly show you who the original lender or creditor, or in this case, healthcare provider was, the dates of account activity, the total balance, and all the relevant account details. If they fail to validate your account for any reason, then you're no longer legally responsible for payment. Further, they're supposed to contact all 3 credit bureaus to have them remove this collection from your credit report. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Now, our second due diligence step is to check out the age of the account. If your account is validated, we next need to review these documents in detail. We're looking for your last date of account activity because you're not legally responsible for repayment for medical debt nor most types of consumer debt forever. Generally speaking, you're only legally responsible for repayment for about 7 years. Once this legal time window runs out and expires, then in accordance with state law, the debt is supposed to be forgiven. This is called the Statute of Limitations, and it does vary from state to state. So for exact details, check out your local legislation. This legal timetable definitely applies to medical debts, from hospital collections to physician visits to emergency room bills and more. It also governs the overwhelming majority of types of consumer debt, from charged-off credit cards, utility accounts, retail accounts, telecommunications, and many more. One of the only exceptions is federal student loans in default. Beware. Yes, beware. One of the sneaky debt collection industry tactics is to re-age consumer accounts. This is done to continue to try and collect payment on a debt that is no longer legally enforceable. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Again, that's for a free credit report consultation, and the toll-free phone number is 1-844-517-7627. This is Dan Willis. We're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available there for you, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. And of course, subscribe and join our congregation, because coming up next, we're going to be talking about how to potentially pay MiraMed Revenue Group, and so it will help to improve your credit score. So, of course, subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and looking forward to talking to you again here soon.